For our second speech today, we have an icebreaker, presentation mastery number 1. Delivers speech on any topic as an introduction to the club using any style. After 20 years in Toastmasters, Stephen takes his first step on Pathways presentation. Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Stephen Morgan with Imagine That.
As a hypnotist, I could tell you many stories. 4 to 6 minutes, I could do 4 to 6 months. Because I've been doing this over 30 years. But the most interesting ones that people love to ask about are the ones that seem to be the funniest. I'm already getting started.
There you go.
One of the funny things about being a hypnotist, the moment you mention it, people are going to ask you questions. Usually, is it real? How do you do it? Does it work? But you can also play this off other people. I discovered a while back that as a secret shopper at Hooters, the Hooters girls are supposed to come up and engage you. They're supposed to talk to you. So when I was a secret shopper, I'd have to answer these questions. They come talk to you, what's so not? At the Toastmasters International Convention in 2003, they were in Atlanta. I went there since it was nearby to see what that was like. On one of those off times, I went to go eat, and Hooters was nearby. That was easy. Go and sit down. I'm sitting there alone, so I know what to expect. They're going to have to come up and talk to me, the Hooters girls, right? To engage you, they're going to ask you simple small talk. What do you do? I'm a hypnotist. How did that work? Can you do it right now? Yes, it's actually quite easy to do it right there. Oh, please, just do it to me right there. No problem. I have the girl, there are 2 of them, I have one of them just, okay, fine, now sit down in the chair to make it easy, because the quick and fast instant induction goes really quick, but if you do it really fast, they'll often lose their balance. So sit down. And I want to do just simple, quick, fast instant induction to get her in the trance real quick. And it happens real fast. And the moment I tell her to sleep, she starts laughing. She starts laughing out loud, almost to the point of hysterical. Now, this is not unusual. The instant induction often causes an emotional outburst if there's anything there. The laughing was fun but different, but the problem was she started sliding right out of the chair because she was laughing so hard. I had to grab her to keep her from falling out of the chair. Now I'm holding the Hooters girl by her Hooters to keep her from falling out of the chair. I couldn't get any further than that at that point because it was just ridiculous, but it was fun to see nonetheless. The instant induction, though, is actually where most of the funniest stories come from. And the way it works is that it's just a startling event that throws your equilibrium off for just an instant. But in that instant, it's easy to get someone to drop in a trance real quick. When I'm teaching hypnosis, I like to explain this, demonstrate it, then have them practice it. But when I'm explaining it, the easiest way to explain instant induction is to point out to people you've seen it. You've seen it happen a lot. Anyone seen a faith healer? Heal! That's an instant induction. They usually come right up, smack on the forehead. You don't know the instant it's going to happen at that moment, and they're saying heal. And that's the actual suggestion. Now, funny enough, that can work if the issue you're healing is just something that needed to come out of your head. But now I want to get them to practice the instant induction. It's usually sleep. It's usually make them lose their balance or sudden surprise. When I'm doing little small groups when we're trying to break apart and pairing up, I'm often pairing up as the one they're going to practice on. There's one woman, which was fascinating, in that she was older, learning it, and the first time anyone practices it, you're always thrown off. Because when you're doing the induction, it's not just sleep, it's sleep, deeper you go, better, feel deeper you go. You have to keep talking as fast as you can to keep them from thinking, because the moment they start thinking, pop right back up. without fail, the first attempt, they go sleep, and the person trying to be the hypnotist surprises themselves, and they kind of freeze. This one girl was doing real fun because I was sitting there playing along, and though I could go into trance, no problem, she does the hand drop approach, and as she's talking to me, getting it started, and she pulls her hand out from under mine, which is supposed to be the surprise. And at that same moment, you're supposed to say sleep. She just froze at that moment. And she's thinking for a bit. And I'm not reacting. Then she just goes up and goes, heel on me. As if that was her version of doing the faith healer approach. And I managed to not break out, but my wife was standing next to her a bit. That was unfortunate. It's always hilarious seeing how they apply it. But then, of course, people hear about the stage shows. They've seen what's fun, the funny parts. And does that really work? It does, because it's about your imagination. When they get up on stage, they know what they're doing, they're willing to be silly, and they're willing to play with the imagination. Back in college, it turned out there was a guy on my dorm floor who was very good at this. He would be a natural somnambulist, if you wish, somebody very suggestible, those indeed work very well. So one of these times I'm using him as a demonstration. He volunteered. And I said, great, fine. He went into trance. Great, I finally give the suggestion, okay, you'll see all of us as Dungeons and Dragons characters. Fine and easy. Turns out he was actually very good at the hallucinating and visualizing and seeing things that weren't there. When he took that suggestion, he took it a step further. He saw me, for example, as the character I played in the campaign Going on the Floor, which was a bard character. So he's looking through this backpack I don't have on my back, but he's digging through it, digging up like a loot, as an example, and seeing me in the outfits. And the other guy who was standing there was like big robes, the magic user kind of character. I had done the induction in his dorm room. We're actually standing out in the hall while he's looking at us, describing what he sees. Another guy on the floor just walks out of his dorm room, comes walking down the hall. Now the guy I hypnotized, Dave, was watching this other guy go by, I think his name was Chris, and just kind of staring at him like, you're wondering what it is he's seeing. And just watch him walk by. Chris is just looking at you. What are you looking at me a little funny for? Because he didn't know what we were doing. After Chris goes around the corner, Dave turns to the rest of us, and that's when we realized what was going through his head. See, Chris's character, Chris was this big, deep bass, very buff, masculine guy walking by. His character in our campaign was female. His character in our campaign was an attractive female. As he's watching him go by. Once Chris goes around the corner, Dave turns to the rest of us, standing there and goes, he's stacked! Well, I can't say the Hooters girls quite fit that same mold, but the stories that come out for being a hypnotist are entertaining and engaging. They can be funny, and we love to tell them to get people engaged and interested. The best part, though, is when you can get them to heal, and I don't mean the heal part, but when you can get them to make changes, engage the imagination, all sorts of things can pop out, including material for the next speech, hopefully soon.
Thank you.